There aren't many memories that I have from my early childhood, but for some reason going to a drive-in theater to see Return of the Jedi is one that I have retained. And I, like many other little boys and girls, spent years dreaming about how awesome it would be if I were a Jedi. Sooner or later, we all must grow up, and grow up I did. On to other hobbies and interests that pushed Star Wars pretty far back in my priority of interest. The first Star Wars video game that I played was X-Wing on the PC, followed shortly thereafter by TIE Fighter and Dark Forces. I've never been much of a PC gamer, but these were great titles for their time, and I found great enjoyment playing all of them. I was 19 when Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out, and I remember the hype and anticipation that came along with it. I remember going to the theater with friends and being utterly disappointed. To be fair, it would have been nearly impossible for it to live up to what fans had been waiting for over 20 years. And while I don't hate Episode 1, or any of the prequels for that matter, it was obvious that the magic was gone, and my love for the franchise was gone as well. I never played any of the multiple Star Wars games that were released over the next 2 decades. Being a collector, I picked up titles over the years that I've heard are solid games, but since my love for the franchise was long lost, all these games unfortunately fell into the black hole, which is known as my gaming backlog. Star Wars has been in the spotlight over recent years, whether it's for bad games or the highly controversial new trilogy, and similar to the prequels, the new trilogy hasn't done anything for me either. I do, however, really like Rogue One, but due to the lack of there being a Jedi in this movie, it doesn't really scratch that itch. I vaguely remember Jedi Fallen Order being announced, and being that I've never played a console Star Wars game, I had no intentions of picking it up. Then for some reason, in the weeks leading up to its release, I found myself slightly intrigued by this game. You see, games like Battlefront 2 had so much drama circling it that I never really knew what the game entailed. But Jedi Fallen Order just seemed to be a third-person, single-player, action-style RPG, which is what I've always wanted in a Star Wars game. Just me, being a Jedi, and doing Jedi things, with a good story that made me feel like I was an actual part of the Star Wars universe. I was still pretty skeptical, being that embargoes were putting a hold on reviews until launch day. I decided to hold off on a pre-order just to verify that this wasn't going to be some train wreck that EA was hiding. When launch day came and the reviews were, for the most part, positive, I went ahead and picked it up on my lunch break and started playing it that night. Instantly, I was pulled into the story and off and running. It didn't waste much time, and I was using my lightsaber early and often. Then came the Force powers, and it wasn't long until I just stopped and said to myself, "Holy crap, I'm really a Jedi." I met my crew and went off on an adventure, and the longer I played, then the more the crew had grown on me and the more I had become immersed in this world. I met BD-1 and he won me over in no time. Just imagine a hybrid of R2-D2's skill set with Baby Yoda's cuteness. Yeah, that's what he is. I started filling out my Jedi skill tree and started to become more and more one with the Force. And I'm not sure at what point exactly that it happened, but I realized that this is my favorite Star Wars. I can't say that it's the best Star Wars video game because I obviously haven't played all, if any of them, before. And it's hard to compare a video game to a movie, but what I mean is that this is my favorite experience with anything in the Star Wars universe. And this isn't a review, so I'm not going to get too technical, but if you have watched a review, then yes, the combat and upgrade system is similar to Sekiro, but not as polished, and yes, the platforming and puzzles remind you of Uncharted or Tomb Raider, and yes, the mapping system is a bit convoluted. But that's not what this video is all about. The reason why I made this video is because I know the Star Wars franchise has betrayed many fans over the years, and pushed many fans so far away that they actually hate the franchise now. And I wasn't in the extreme of that group, but I was pretty close. But this game, and the world that it puts you in, and the characters that you come to know, changed that for me. It made me a believer again. And does that mean that I'm optimistic about Episode 9? No, not at all. But I think the game is worth playing. And if you are borderline, but don't want to be burned by the franchise again, or are completely new to the Star Wars franchise in general, then this is a title that you need to play. Just pick this game up, enjoy the ride, and may the Force be with you. Thanks for watching.